So we can do more with our if statements than simply change how a ball moves on the screen. So let's take a look. So let's say I want to, when I move my mouse, if it moves to the right of the ball turns blue, and if it moves to the left of the ball stays white. So far so good? All right. So I could do that by using those mouse variables that we played with when we were doing Draw Robot. I could say if mouse x, and mouse x represents where the mouse is on the canvas. If mouse x is greater than, well, it's 600 wide, so if it's greater than 300, then I want the fill to be blue, which again would be 0 red, 0 green, and 255 for blue. All right, so now when I run it, all right, so now if I move slowly to the right, bam, it's blue. Sweet. Now if I move to the left, it'll be, wait, why didn't it turn white again? Isn't the fill only blue when it's on the right? That's what this says. Well, just like when we were doing stuff before, remember draw loops. Are you with me? So if fill happens after the ellipse will be whatever fill it was before that. So by default, the fill is white. So far, so good. So we draw a white ellipse, then we check where the mouse is. If the mouse is greater than 300, make the fill blue. So now the fill is blue. When I come back around again, the fill is still blue, so I get a blue ellipse. Now when I move the mouse to the left, the fill is still blue. Because we say, is mouse x greater than 300? Nope, mouse x is 100. 100 is not greater than 300, so therefore we don't run the code that is in between the curly braces. But the thing is, we've set the fill to blue. There's nothing to set it back to white. So we need to add a new idea, and that new idea is else. So now, if I do this, what this says, I'm going to go ahead and put that on a new line so it's a little easier to read. What this says is if mouse x is greater than 300, run the code that's between these curly braces. If that statement is false, run the code that's in between these curly braces. So now, when my mouse is over here, the mouse x value is less than 300, so the fill is white. As soon as I move to the right, it's blue, white, blue, white, blue, white. Woo, 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 woo. Not so bad, right? So that's one way we can use this. Now let's say we only wanted it to turn blue if the cursor was on top of the ball. That's a little harder. If we wanted this to be only blue while the cursor is on top of the ball, we need to think a little bit more. So how do we do that? What we're going to do is we're going to say if mouse x is greater than 300, that means I'm right there, right? So I need mouse x to, even when I'm here, for it to be blue, right? I need it even for it to be here on blue. So right here is 300. And this edge of the ball is how far away from the middle? Well, how big is our ball? Our ball is 50 by 50. And so if we're to the left of the ball, that means we're going to be less than 300, but how much less? Well, we're going to be 25 less. So this is going to be 275. That's not 275. And now when I run it, when I get to this edge, there we go. Right now, right when I get on the ball, I'm blue, but I need to stop being blue when I get to this edge. So we want to know that the mouse x is bigger than 275, but also smaller than this edge, right? We need it to be smaller than this edge. So I can do that by adding a second condition inside my if line. And to add a second, I can say this has to be true and this. And to write and, we use that ampersand key, which is Shift 7, and we do a pair of them. That means and. So I need mouse x to also be less than what? So 300 is the middle. All the way to the right is 300 plus half the width of the ball, which is again 25. So I can say 325. Not so bad, right? So now, there we go. Woo! You can see just as I enter and then just as I leave. What about when I go up and down? Nope, still blue. I just want it to be blue only when the cursor is on it. I can add some more ifs. I'm sorry, some more ands inside my if. So I can do a space and I can say and I need the mouse Y to also be in a certain range, because right now, even if it's up here, so I want mouse Y to do something similar. So again, we know the center is 200, so we need the mouse Y needs to be greater than the top edge. The top edge is 200 minus 25. So if I run that, I've got all three of those conditions. So now up here I don't have it, and as soon as I get onto the ball, bam, and as I leave the ball down here, it still stays because I haven't written the other side. So now I need to go and, oh, and is in the wrong spot. Y is less than the value of Y at the bottom of the edge. Again, this is 200. 200 plus 25 is 225. So now I can move anywhere around it. Not so bad, right? Woo! All right, so that's one way we can use that. Pretty cool. We can combine that. So play with this idea a bit, okay? So play with this idea for a bit, and then we're going to add one small piece to it once you've played with this idea. So try and draw a second ball somewhere else on the screen and do the same thing so that when I mouse over the second ball, it's a different color than blue.